The Mandalorian Season 3 has had its premiere with the first of what is assumed there's going to be 8 episodes in Season 3 with Chapter 17, The Apostate. Yeah, yeah, it's happening. We're finally getting it. After 2 years, a little over 2 years. Let's get the continuation of the story, shall we? Let's talk about it. Now, as you know, when I do reviews like this, I'm not going to do like a play-by-play of the whole episode, but I will be talking about things that kind of stick out to me. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. There will be some spoilers here, and I guess some spoilers for Book of Boba Fett if you haven't seen that, because what happens there leads into season 3. So, especially if you hadn't seen anything since the season 2 finale of The Mandalorian, you might be confused. But anyway, let's just get on with it. There's some really really cool scenes in this show, in this episode. The beginning, the ceremony with Din flying in with his new Naboo starship and saving the day against this monster. I mean, it's very very cool looking. So it's kind of a cool action scene to start off the season. But it didn't, I don't know, it didn't really amount to anything. But anyway, what happens is Din basically says to the armorer that, yeah, I'm gonna go to Mandalore, and she's like, yeah, you're crazy, and he's like, no, I'm going, and I'll prove it to you, and yeah, so he gets going, and then they make it to Navarro. When they get there, they find that the place has gotten even more beautiful, and it's basically grown up even more, and Grief Karga is now the High Magistrate. But we've got the main quest, right? We've got the main quest now. Let's get into the little side quest action here. So when trying to get IG-11 back up and running, he goes kind of haywire and attacks and all that sort of thing. Grief Karga takes Mando and Grogu and IG-11 to some Enzelans, which, Babu Frick, right? That Babu Frick species. So it was kind of cool to see that, and of course it put a smile on my face. It's kind of hard not to smile at this kind of situation. And of course we get this cute scene where Grogu's trying to hug them, and it's like, I just kept thinking they're going to sell a lot of toys here. So after we figured out that yes, we're going to need this chip for IG-11, so basically the side quest has been accepted. There was this little scuffle with some pirates, and one of them's named Vane, who actually had a very very cool makeup and everything. Looked really really good. But yeah, after that, Grief Karga's like, yeah, I really need you as a marshal, and Mando's like, well, what about Cara Dune? And I was like, oh, they're mentioning Cara Dune, and it's very very brief. He basically says, yeah, after the end of season 2, you remember all that stuff. After that happened, she was enlisted by special forces, so she's off world. She's off doing something else. So it's kind of interesting that yeah, we I don't know. It's everything seems so abbreviated, and I think part of that is the runtime. But yeah, so we move on again. During hyperspace, Grogu's looking out the window, and he sees the Purrgil, the space whales from Rebels. He sees them, and I'm like, that's actually pretty interesting. It's interesting that they're bringing in that element from Rebels, and of course, if you know Rebels, then you know that there's things that they've been sort of building toward in other upcoming series. You know what I'm saying? So this is going to come up again. Then we get a space battle with Mando and the I guess the pirates led by Vane. He's like, you shot 4 of my guys and blah blah blah, and they're this cool attack that Mando's like, oh, we're it's on now, and he kind of hides behind asteroids and stuff like that. It's pretty cool, this action scene. But Vane leads him to this huge ship, and the captain is Gorian Shard, and this is what he looks like. And I just kept thinking, why is Sigmund the Sea Monster in Star Wars? That's literally the exact thing that I thought. I'm not understanding this. And it made me go, man, okay. Of course, Mando gets away from these pirates and comes to this Mandalorian castle. And in there is Bo-Katan. Din Djarin is basically saying, look, I want to join you. And she's like, well, there's nothing to join. Everybody's gone. She's like, do you still have the Darksaber? And he's like, yeah, I do. She goes, well, they'll follow you. They're off doing mercenary stuff. And he's like, well, I'm going to Mandalore. And she's like, there's nothing there. He's like, okay, well, I'm going. And I'm going to prove that it's not poisoned and it's not dangerous and all that. And she's like, whatever, you're a fool. And I'm kind of like, why is this scene here? It feels weird that he would have gone off and done all that other stuff that we saw earlier in the episode. It feels like this should have been earlier in the episode, and they said, no, we think it plays better at the end. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe it's because they didn't want to end on Sigmund the Sea Monster, but anyway, I'm not really understanding why they did it that way. So in case you're not exactly clear on it, I feel like this is a rough start to this season. I feel like, man, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of different places we're going and a lot of different characters we're meeting, all of this stuff. And, you know, all these fetch quests that are happening. And it just, man, it feels like a rough start. Like, it doesn't feel like an organic story being told. It feels like a checklist of things so far. And that feels weird to me. And especially after Andor, you know, it feels strange. Like, I know that there's cool things here. There's things that I think are kind of cool. But it's also like, but why though? You know, it's weird. It's all I can say. It's weird. I'm wondering if I'm the only person that feels this way. You know, like, am I the only one feeling this unease and this, like, I'm getting tired of this sort of formula that the Mandalorian is playing? So yeah, let me know down below and we'll talk about it, because I'm curious. I'm really curious if I feel like I'm alone here. I don't know. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.